those of you who are here for the public information session regarding the new athletic field for the schools and its delay, it is going to be postponed to a date to be determined. The president of the council had asked for this information session, and he could not be here tonight. So it will be,
I didn't know that,
yeah, it will be on the agenda at the time that, on the evening that it will be heard. So we apologize for that. We just found out ourselves.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
I got my pajamas.
This is a public hearing, City Council, 38-19, National Grid and Verizon, to relocate one jointly owned pole on Wheeler Street, beginning at a point approximately 75 feet northeast of the center line of the intersection of Lancaster Street and continuing approximately 20 feet in the northwest direction. National Grid to relocate pole number 1, 35 feet closer to Lancaster Street, to allow for a customer to install a new driveway. New pole to be 50 feet away from Lancaster Street. This is regular course on March 11th, further timed on March 25th, April 8th, April 22nd, with a public hearing on March 25th at 6:14. The public hearing was continued to 4/8, 4/22, and tonight we have it on the agenda again. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak in support of this petition?
Hi, I'm Bill Collins. I'm the owner of the property that's interested in having that pole moved. Purpose of moving the pole is just to gain access to Wheeler Street for the property formerly known as Industrial Hardware, which was gone through the planning board. So that's basically it, is to get the driveway to come out that way. That'll be an in and out.
Now, part of that property is commercial and part is residential, correct? On the two-family?
On the two, well, yeah.
And you own that as well?
I do own that as well. The property line goes up,
I mean, the majority is
I'm not-
commercial.
yeah. I'm not sure any of the building is in residential, but I think some of the
Part of the land
lawn is in residential. For that matter, at the 240, the zoning drives right up through that building, or, part of the, so.
But according to my concern, according to the building inspector, when I spoke with him, a few years back, I guess there was a discussion about a strip mall, tearing down that house and putting a strip mall from Johnson Street or from the industrial hardware to, across to Wheeler, which is part of the reason
I'm not familiar with that.
okay. If that were the case, that would be a big discussion for the people on Wheeler Street, obviously, because it's
Oh,
gonna.
you mean like a strip mall facing Wheeler?
No, facing Lancaster, but if you had access through Wheeler, that would make a little bit of a difference to that neighborhood.
So what went through the planning board was small addition to what's there presently at 236, which is the old
Which is
industrial
industrial
highway,
hardware.
and a second building in the corner of Lancaster and Wheeler. What I'm migrating to is taking that, and that hasn't gone through planning, but is that square footage would get attached to the 236, and there'd be no other building on the corner.
So the intent on the vacant lot would be
Parking,
to possibly
be
have,
parking, landscaping,
but you own that piece as well,
yes.
the vacant lot.
Are we talking the corner of Wheeler and Lancaster? Yes,
And you own the two-family,
yes. And I'm willing to sell any and all of it to any interested party.
not that you have to, but have you talked to the neighborhood at all as to what the plan is to come out that way?
Well, it was part of already, what's already worked through the planning board, so, I mean, they've all had opportunities, no one's,
There was public hearings at the planning board?
oh, yeah, no one's objected, and, it was actually kind of required because the police department didn't want that former first entrance on the as you come around, say you're going down Lancaster, you're gonna bang a right on Johnson. They didn't like that entrance staying an in and out. So in that plan, we agreed that it's an in only. So the exit from that whole property is onto Wheeler or back lower onto Johnson Street for traffic control. But that all went through, planning.
And they were supportive?
Mhm.
I guess it's a little bit of the unknown. I mean,
Well-
you could be incredibly successful at the old industrial hardware building, and that would be, if you had access to Wheeler Street, that could be a lot of traffic. That was the concern. Especially if the police want you to redirect it to the Wheeler Street area, that's a substantial change.
It's not a change from what's on the planning board plan at present. It already had a drive onto Wheeler, if I understand you.
Okay. Seeing you are the petitioner, well, not the petitioner, so I guess there's a gray area there. Not the petitioner, but you are the owner. I'm going to allow members of the committee to ask questions if they have any. Councilor Cormier?
My question for you is what's motivating you to move the driveway? Is this is just a matter of convenience? Is it a matter of having difficulty getting in and out? What I want to know is the reason behind.
There is no driveway there presently. The driveway is in the development plan, but it's never been, I have not created it yet.
Okay, so
So-
what is the development plan?
Well, there's actually 3 versions, and basically what happens is we're looking to have this pole situated right next to the tree that's there, the only tree on the property, because all 3 plans allow for the tree to stay. So I know if I move it and position it next to the tree, I won't be back here looking to move it again. So it really depends on what happens on Lancaster Street as to, you know, do I come off 20 feet off that house, or 25 feet, or 30 feet? And I don't, you know, it's only going to be landscaping either side of the driveway anyway. Its destination is 236 Lancaster Street.
So it's simply going to be for parking and for landscaping, so you're not looking to add anything?
I'm not looking to add a thing.
And you're not looking to change the use of that property at 236?
Nope.
Now, you said that there's 3 versions. The first version is to move it closer, right next to the tree that's already there.
No. What I meant to say is where that drive comes out could be anywhere from that tree to the corner of the house property. Okay? That's what I meant. Not 3 versions of where the pole is, but, you know, there's some street drainage. If I can avoid moving that, I prefer to. If I don't move the pole, I may have to go through the expense of moving the street drainage to get the driveway where it needs to go.
Okay, I may come back to you. I'm trying to,
Counselor Arndinger?
Now, first of all, I want to thank Mr. Collins for coming down tonight. It cleared up a lot of questions that I had about, you know, what was going to happen. And I commend you on all the work that you've already done down there. And it looks like it would be beneficial as far as development in the city to have that property with good access. The traffic concerns, there aren't any houses between that driveway and Lancaster Street, so I just don't know how much it would affect the traffic, but that's you're always up for discussion. You know, it's somewhat hypothetical at this point. I guess in you know, in summary, I feel comfortable with what you're asking at this point. So,
Thanks.
Okay, any other members of the council that have any questions regarding this? Anybody? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Collins.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Now I will go back to the question of anybody who wishes to speak in support. Again, is there anyone who wishes to speak in support? For the 3rd time, is there anyone who wishes to speak in support? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? For the last time, is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? If not, I'll go back to the committee. Councilor Cormier, you still?
no, I have nothing further to add.
Okay. Councilor Arndinger, you all set? Any other councilors? If not, does the committee have a suggestion to close the hearing?
I would move to close the hearing.
All right, the public hearing is closed.
Okay, thank you very much. Public forum. move on to the public forum. The public forum is an opportunity for any member of the audience to speak on a matter specifically listed on the council agenda. Speakers will be asked to come to the microphone and state their formal name and address along with identifying the specific item or items they wish to address. Each speaker is respectfully asked to keep their comments within a 2-minute time frame. The council will not be responding or answering any questions. However, at the discretion of the council president, clarification may be given. We don't have anybody signed up for the public forum this evening, but is anybody in the audience wish to address the council? Again, does any member of the audience wish to address the council? And for the third and final time, does anybody in the audience wish to address the council? Seeing none, I declare the public forum closed. into the regular meeting of the Leominster City Council for Monday, May 13th, 2019. Please join me in saluting the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we'll start the meeting with the roll call of the honorable city councilors, starting with Councilor Frida.
Present.
Councilor Dombrowski.
Present.
Councilor Shalfo Zephyr.
Present.
Councilor Bedanza.
Present.
Councilor Arndinger.
Present.
Councilor Pauline Cormier.
Present.
Councilor David Cormier.
Present.
And I will be recorded as present. Approval of records presented by the Vice President. I do have the records of the meeting of April 22nd, 2019. And except for just a couple of very minor housekeeping issues, I find them to be in order, and I ask them to be placed on file. I don't know who approves that. Yes, I do? Yes. So, any discussion on that? Okay, so the records will be placed on file. We'll start with communications from the mayor. And, oh, yep, that's right. So now I know why people forget. It's easy. Okay. Councilor Frida has asked for a few minutes of your time before we start with communications.
Thank you, Madam President. Since our last meeting, we've lost a prominent member of our community. Andy Rome was a tremendous businessman in the community, but more than that, he had such a streak of generosity that was almost second to none. If he was asked to donate for something or to have a fundraiser that started at his business, if it was a child, he didn't even ask who it was. If it was a family, same situation. He affected a lot of people, and a lot of people that we don't even know. He died quite suddenly, about a week and a half ago. And indications in standing room only in the synagogue where any statement to his generosity and his popularity and just the kind of guy he was, then that would do it. So I'm going to ask that we have a moment of silence for Andy, if we could,
Please do.
and just to remember him.
Thank you, Councilor Frida.
Thank you.
So we'll move on to communications from the mayor, starting with appointments. Madam Clerk.
A measure confirming the mayor's appointment of Nathan Fontaine to the Office of Emergency Management Dive Unit volunteer.
And this appointment will be referred to the Clerk of Ways and Means.
Regular course.
Thank you. This is regular course.
And I
Madam-
believe we'll set up an interview
Yes.
for Nathan before the next meeting.
We'll have the clerk arrange for that.
No problem.
Okay, second appointment. Madam Clerk.
A measure confirming the mayor's appointment of Jeffrey B. O'Neill to the Recreation Commission, term to expire 4/15/2022.
And this measure will be referred to the Clerk of Ways and Means.
Regular course, Madam President, it's a reappointment, so we don't need to have an interview.
Thank you. Okay, so we move on to communications. C70, actually, if there's no issue with it, we can handle C70 through C73 in block. Is there any issue with that, Madam Chair? Madam Clerk? Any issue with handling those in block?
To read them first?
Yeah, no, that's okay with you.
C70, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor. A measure approving an exemption under MGL Chapter 268A, Section 20B, Conflict of Interest of Stephanie Martin as a Leisure Head Counselor. C71, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor. A measure approving an exemption under MGL Chapter 268A, Section 20B, Conflict of Interest of Rebecca Baker Wary as a Leisure Head Counselor. C72, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor. A measure approving an exemption under MGL Chapter 268A, Section 20B, Conflict of Interest of Mary Newman as a part-time clerk for the Department of Veteran Services. C73, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor. A measure approving an exemption under MGL Chapter 268A, Section 20B, Conflict of Interest of counsel to the Leominster Public Schools.
And C70 through and including C73 referred to the Clerk of Ways and Means.
Yes, Madam President, in block, regular course.
Thank you. C70 through C73 have been given regular course. We move on to C74.
C74, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that the council vote to grant the attached petition to transfer property to Recreation Commission.
And C74 is referred to the chairperson of city property, Councilor Arndinger.
Regular course.
C74 has been given regular course. C75, Madam Clerk.
C75, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that the Leominster City Council vote to accept the Leakin School property as surplus for the purposes of building the new police station.
Regular course.
And again, C75 will be referred to the chairperson of city property.
Regular course.
Thank you. C75 has been given
Madam
regular
President,
course. Yes.
could we also, through the chair, get information from the assessor's office regarding all that building?
The Lincoln Street property?
From the assessor's office,
Okay,
get information for that property?
okay.
Okay, so regular course and referral to the assessor's office. Okay. Okay, C76.
C76, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that the following ordinance change be adopted. Amend Chapter 16, Personnel, Section 16-13, Vacations, of the Leominster Revised Ordinances by deleting Section 8 and replacing it with the following Section 8, effective 1/1/2019. See attached.
And if those issue, perhaps we could do C77 and C78 as well? Madam Clerk?
Sure. C77, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that the following ordinance change be adopted. Amend Chapter 16, Personnel, Section 16-30, Compensation Grades, by inserting therein the following sections A11, A12, and A13, see attached. C78, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that the following ordinance change be adopted. Amend Chapter 16, Personnel, Section 16-33, Longevity, on regular compensation, of the Leominster Revised Ordinance by deleting Section A1 and replacing it with Section A1 as follows, effective 7/1/2018, see attached.
And C76 through C78 is referred to the chairperson of legal affairs.
Regular course in block with referrals to the Human Resources Director, the Comptroller, and the City Treasurer. And we also need to establish hearing dates for Communication 76, May 28th, 2019, at 6:10 p.m. And for Communication 77, May 28th, 2019, at 6:11 p.m. And for Communication 78, May 28th, 2019, at 6:12 p.m.
Okay. So Communication 76, 77, and 78 have been given regular course in block with referrals to Human Resources, the Comptroller's Office, and the Treasurer's Office. C76, we have established a hearing date of May 28th, 2019 at 6:10. C77, a hearing on 5/28/19 at 6:11, and 678, 5/28/19 at 6:12. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We have to vote.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll have,
I'm not sure you can do the public hearing in block. I think you have to do them individually.
no, I read them individually. Yeah, okay. So we'll vote on 676 for the hearing date of May 28th, 6:10. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay. 677, May 28th at 6:11. All those in favor? Any opposed? And 678, CC78, May 28th, 2019 at 6:12. All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, so those hearing dates and times have been established. We move on to orders. C79, Madam Clerk.
C79, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, requests that the attached loan order for $11,294,000 be adopted for finance of an aeration basin and secondary clarifier upgrade project.
And C79 is referred to the Chairperson of Finance.
Thank you, Madam President. First time on the agenda, regular course, please.
C79 has been given regular course. C80.
C80, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, relative to the appropriation of This one will have to be amended as a side note. It's gonna say $930,000, $930,175 be made to the school transportation expenses, same amount to be transferred from the stabilization fund.
And C80 is referred to the chairman of finance.
Thank you, Madam President. As the clerk pointed out, we have a typographical error with this communication. So I think it would be appropriate at this time to amend the petition. So I guess I would entertain a motion to amend it to or we should entertain a motion to amend it to $930,175 as opposed to $93,175.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion. Who's first motion?
Sue.
Okay,
Sue.
and then second. Okay, so the motion has been made by Counselor Shalfo Zephyr and seconded by Counselor David Cormier. So should we read it again? Read it again? Okay, so the clerk will read it again with the correct information.
So it will say, C80, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, relative to the appropriation of $930,175 be made to the school transportation expenses, same amount to be transferred from the stabilization fund.
This is be referred again to the chair of finance.
Don't we have to move the question on the motion?
We gotta vote for it.
Okay, so vote for the question?
Yes.
Okay, so we vote for the question on the
amend.
motion. I need a motion to vote on the question?
No, we have a motion to amend, I believe, right? Don't we have to vote on that?
Vote on the motion,
Everybody
yeah.
in favor? say
Okay,
aye.
so all those in favor of the amendment? Okay, any opposed?
Perfect.
Okay, so now we refer it back.
Thank you, Madam President. So the C80 now being amended to $930,175, I'd ask that it be given regular course.
Thank you. C80 has been given regular course. C81.
C81, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, relative to the appropriation of $24,000 be made to the Police Department overtime account, same amount to be transferred from the collective bargaining expense account regarding patrolman and superior officers' wage agreement settlement.
And C81 is referred to the chairman of finance.
Thank you, Madam President. Regular course, please.
C81 has been given regular course. C82.
C82, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, relative to the appropriation of $195,000 be made to the Police Department salary and wages account, same amount to be transferred from the collective bargaining expense account.
And again, C82 is referred to the chairman of finance.
Thank you, Madam President. Regular course, please.
C82 has been given regular course. C83.
Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, relative the appropriation of $6,000 be made to the City Council expense account, same amount to be transferred from the stabilization fund.
And C83 is referred to the chairman of finance.
Once again, regular course, please.
C83 has been given regular course. C84.
C84, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, relative to the appropriation of $119,023 to the various general fund salary and wages appropriation accounts, as listed, same amount to be transferred from the collective bargaining expense account.
C84 is referred to the chair of finance.
Thank you, Madam President. Regular course, please.
C84 has been given regular course. C85.
C85, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, relative to the appropriation of $5,967 be made to the wastewater salary and wage account, same amount to be transferred from the wastewater support services expense account.
And C85 is referred to the chair of finance.
Yes, Madam President. First time on the agenda. Regular course, please.
C85 has been given regular course. C86.
C86, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, relative to the appropriation of $7,403 to the Water Department's salary and wages account, same amount to be transferred from the Water Department support services expense account.
C86 is referred to the chair of finance.
Yes, Madam President. Regular course, please.
C86 has been given regular course. C87.
C87, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, relative to the appropriation of $1,538 to the Gallagher Building salary and wages account, same amount to be transferred from the Gallagher Building salary and wages account.
C87 is referred to the chair of finance.
Regular course, please.
C87 has been given regular course. C88.
C88, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, relative to the appropriation of $100,000 to the Fire Department overtime account, same amount to be transferred from the stabilization fund.
And C88 is referred to the chair of finance.
Yes, Madam President. Regular course, please.
Thank you. C88 has been given regular course.
Madam President,
Yes.
I think we just, going back to Communication 84, I think we need to establish a public
Okay.
hearing. And that notice was actually given to me, and I didn't get it over to the finance chair, so I apologize.
Better late than never.
Sorry.
But,
Why does that need a public hearing? Just out of
I'm gonna use that
curiosity.
out.
And we already have
I'm
one.
thinking,
It's
I'm
6:10.
thinking that was a
I
typo.
think that's a typo.
Yeah.
That's why I was,
I
that's
think
why I
so.
paused.
Yeah, I thought that's why you were
Awkwardly.
pausing.
That's a typo.
It doesn't need a public hearing? Okay.
no, okay.
She did a good thing.
It's not ordinance change, it's fine.
I thought I was wrong, but I was right.
There you go. It's always good to find out. Okay. So petitions, first time on the calendar, we have 5719. Madam Clerk.
57-19, Best Buy Stores LP, renew the secondhand dealer's license for Best Buy Stores LP number 1433, located at 33 Orchard Hill Park Drive.
And 5719 is referred to the Clerk of Ways and Means.
Regular course with referrals to the treasurer's office and the police department.
We have those in.
Yeah. Those are already in. Those are already in. They get them first as soon as they receive the applications. They've streamlined the process. So 5719 has been given regular course. Thank you. 5718, Madam Clerk.
58-19,
5819.
Michelle Powell and 10 registered voters declare and accept Cleveland Street as a street in the city of Leominster.
And 5819 is referred to the Chairman of Legal Affairs.
Thank you. Regular course with a referral to the Department of Public Works, the city engineer, and the planning board director.
5819 has been given regular course with referrals to the Department of Public Works, the city engineer, and the planning board director. Thank you. Now we move on to matters before the city council. We have the City of Leominster financial report. Chair of Finance.
Thank you, Madam President. We began the fiscal year with a balance in the stabilization fund of $15,113,865. Since the beginning of the fiscal year, there have been additions to the account totaling $4,796,264. During the course of the fiscal year to date, including all appropriations on tonight's agenda for the first time, there's a total of $5,151,295, leaving a balance of $14,758,834, excuse me. And the appropriations year-to-date actually are reduced by $575,000 because of monies that we didn't use for a grant. So the revised total of the actual appropriations year-to-date is $4,576,295.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions on the financial report? Council Frida.
I'm sure Councilor Bedanza knows what I'm going to ask him.
I do. I'm like Karnak. You're going to ask me about free cash.
Free cash, and do we have an answer?
I have nothing further to report, other than I did speak to the comptroller since the last meeting and asked him that same question, and I don't have anything further to report, other than the fact that he says it's being worked on diligently.
This is really not right. At this point, the taxpayer deserves to know how much cash we have left over from the tax bill. We're looking at going into the budget very shortly. I'm not sure whose fault this is, and I don't care whose fault it is, but this is not right. If we were any kind of a different council sitting here tonight, and we've had them in the past, been here long enough to know, we would not approve one penny of this agenda, not one dime on any of the requests for appropriations. That would be the only way to really get an answer, because this, if someone said there's a problem with A, or a problem with B, or a problem with C, then we can understand. But to just say we don't have an answer, it's just not appropriate, and it's not right at this point in time. We've never been this late that I'm aware of. I know it's not your fault.
Well, the only thing that's been communicated to me is the fact that, of course, we have the flexibility of using a stabilization account to fund our one-time expenses. until free cash is in fact certified and available. So the comptroller has suggested that the city isn't financially hurt by it. Ultimately, of course, as we've done in the past, we will reconstitute or create a larger balance in the stabilization account by moving some of that free cash into stabilization. But that's all I have to report. I'm sorry. I wish I had more for you.
Through the chair, I understand what you're saying, we've done that in the past, but you're talking about spending money out of stabilization, we don't even know how much money we've got to put back in. I mean, that's part of the problem. If we knew that we had, and I'm sure, going by past experience, we have millions of dollars coming back in free cash. I mean, I'm not even concerned about that, but this just isn't fair to anybody now. And I don't know how we correct it. We've been asking every week for a couple of months. And I'm sure the school department is looking at some of this money that they need for things. The DPW, I know, is waiting to enter into their contracts. I mean, there are a lot of issues here that we're gonna run into a roadblock with. I don't know, maybe somebody's got some other suggestions, but this is not right. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Councilor Shalfo Zephyr.
Yep. I don't have a question, well, I don't know, maybe a question, comment, yeah. Through the chair, to the finance chair, I understand it's not your fault, it's not your problem. You're the liaison between the city council and the comptroller, and I know that you have been asking because I've asked you, I know Councilor Frida has asked you, and this comes up every year, but as Councilor Frida did say, this is way, way, way beyond, any kind of delay that we've had to deal with in the past, and I am very concerned about starting, we have, the school department already has their budget, we've got the budget. We don't know what the free cash situation is going to be. And I'm concerned that going this long in the process without any understanding of why tells me that there's something really wrong in the way that the city does its financial reporting. So, that's something that I want to know. What's caused the delay? And I know that you'll go back and ask the question, but I think we really have to, ask the comptroller, like, why can't you close the books like every other municipality throughout the Commonwealth? There are going to be delays, of course. I mean, you can't just, it isn't anything instantly, but, you do the accruals, you do all of the financial year-end kind of accounting that needs to be done, and then you should be able to close your books in October, right? And have a free cash estimate, I would think, before January. So it's late every year. This year is really egregious. I think we need to ask more questions, not only, when is it going to be certified, but really how come and what's the problem? Does the Department of Revenue, need to come in and, again, they provide consulting services to help municipalities put together best practices so that you can streamline processes and that you can learn from other communities. City of Gardner's had it done, Fitchburg's had it. Department of Revenue came in a couple of times. So again, I'm really concerned about it. This late in the process, we're starting budget hearings soon. 3 weeks, right? So again, if you would go back to the comptroller, I know you will, and ask those questions. How come and what's the problem?
I will certainly do that. I will do it with vigor. And I will be back 2 weeks, God willing, to respond to these questions once again, or perhaps
Or
with
not.
a certification of free cash, who knows?
Right. Maybe we'll have
I can only
a
hope.
pleasant surprise. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilor Dombrowski.
So I've been around long enough to know that the finance chair is not going to get a straight answer. So I would just, I'd ask the finance committee to just further time the requests.
Okay. Councilor Frida.
Through the chair to the finance chair, not beating you up here, but,
Fine. Do what you got
and I know you don't have the answers, but my main concern is that we're gonna be looking at a budget soon. And every year, the taxpayers look for a break in their taxes. Last year, we talked about, the budget and what it's gonna look like in terms of raising the tax. If we don't have any idea how much free cash came back from the last year's taxes, how are we gonna make decisions on this year's budget? I
Well-
guess that's a big concern.
I think I can help with that. So what will happen is we will repay or repatriate, or whatever word you want to use, the surplus funds that ended up in free cash out of water and out of sewer, as we've done almost every year that I've been here.
Yeah,
And
that's
every
a
year that
given.
I've been here. That will account for a few $1 million, I suspect, maybe more than that. We have borrowed, in essence, from stabilization over the course of this year, a little over $4.5 million. There'll be a communication that'll come down that will seek to repay that, to send it back to stabilization where it came from, along with some additional money to increase the size of the stabilization account. So that will account for about $5 million at least, in my estimation. And then there's likely to be another $2 to $3 million, who knows, we're guessing, left over that's not accounted for. That money will come down in the form of additional projects, capital projects, one-time projects that are in the pecking order that the mayor deems have a priority, whatever they might be, repairs to buildings. There's a lot of things out there that need attention, and we'll see communications that will, in essence, spend that money. And then we'll be back in this mode that we've been all year since all the way back at August 27th of borrowing from stabilization again for additional one-time expenses throughout the course of fiscal '20. So that's what we're going to see happen. So I don't think there's a tie, really, to the budget process. I don't think there's anything holding up the budget process. But I agree. Look, it's obviously the latest it's ever been that, in my memory, either as a counselor or before. And, you know, I don't, I'm sorry, have good answers as to why. I wish I could, or I did, but I don't. And I don't see holding up current spending on some of the things there's two matters before us this evening as being productive, because all we're going to do is gum up the works even more. There's no reason to do it. And, you know, yeah, I mean, it's a political statement, but what is it going to accomplish in the long run? It's not going to change anything.
Councilor Frida.
First of all, I appreciate the explanation, but after 26 years, I really don't think you need to explain it to me. Maybe some of the other councilors need to hear it.
It
But
wasn't meant to be condescending. I'm talking to the public as well.
I understand that, but, you know, to tell me you can help me with it, I understand how this works. And I do believe there's a little bit of a tie-in. I mean, if we've got really excess free cash, then maybe we need to look at the one-time expenditures, and maybe we need to look at some of the budget issues and maybe cut some, if that's part of the concern. I mean, there's a lot to look at, and I think there is a tie, but you're right, there's nothing we can do, and I'm not suggesting that you have anything to do with it. And I understand that it's very difficult for you to get the answer as well. But I do understand how it works, and this isn't right.
No.
Simple as that.
So well noted, so noted. I will, as I said, once again, I will reach out and do my best to come back here with additional information.
Any other questions or comments on the financial report? Councilor Bedanza, are you all set?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you very much. So we move on to finance. C-68.
C-68, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, relative to the appropriation of $20,400 to the ITTF expense account, same amount to be transferred from the stabilization fund. This relates to some sole source software that the mayor would like to acquire, or actually Bill Mitchell would like to acquire. He sent a letter to the mayor dated April 18th of this year, indicating that there's a company called Ptolemy that has developed a software that is called Building Blocks. And the purpose of this software is to integrate in the city's master plan through GIS analysis all of the different or various calls that come into the city, whether they're police calls, whether they're an analysis of distressed properties, whether they're DPW reports relative to repairs or infrastructure problems, whether they're dog licensure, whether there's sales data in terms of properties. all of, what this software does apparently is it integrates all of these different data sources into one collective GIS mapped sifting that will allow the city to better analyze where we're going in the future with various public policy matters. So it sounds like a worthwhile investment. It's not it's $20,000. Like I said, it's a sole source procurement. There's an attachment to the letter that goes into much greater detail from the vendor. It would be my position to grant C-68, Madam President. I'd ask you to check with members of my committee.
Yes, so I yield the floor to the clerk of legal affairs. Counselor Frida? Not legal, finance.
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 Counselor Corn.
Counselor
I'm in
Pauline
agreement.
Cormier, sorry.
I'm in agreement.
Okay. And the third member, David Cormier.
I also agree.
Okay, please requalify.
Thank you, Madam President. The unanimous recommendation of finance is to grant C-68.
So you've heard a unanimous recommendation from the Finance Committee to grant C-68. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Do we have a vote? Yeah, we're gonna have a vote. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to read that. I'm going to read it. Okay. You have read the recommendation of the Finance Committee to grant C-68. Any further discussion? All those in favor of granting C-68, please indicate in the usual manner. Those opposed? By a vote of 6 to 3. 6 to 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will be, yeah. Okay, 5 to 3. By a vote of 5 to 3, communication C-68 has been granted. Does the chairman have an order?
I believe it fails because I think we need
Granted? I don't
a
know.
two-thirds vote to come out of
Oh, two-thirds?
stabilization.
Is it
Oh,
two-thirds of those
gotta
present?
count, Rick, it's
Two-thirds
not. Gotta be
Okay.
two-thirds.
Two-thirds
Has
of,
to be six.
Gotta
two-thirds.
be 6 to
Okay.
3.
Okay, all right, so it has not passed yet.
No.
Madam Vice President, I would make a motion to reconsider and ask
We have
for
a
further
motion to
time.
reconsider the vote. Do we have a second?
I second it.
Okay, so we have a second from Council Batanda. Any discussion on the reconsideration? Council Frida?
Third time?
Hmm?
No, okay. No, I thought you were looking for a second.
Any discussion on the reconsideration? Okay, so we will vote on the reconsideration. And we go from, do we have a motion to vote on the reconsideration?
For
So
further time.
I'll make a second. Did anybody second it? Anybody second your motion for the?
I-
I thought so, yeah.
I did,
We're all
yeah.
set.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't hear
So
that.
all
So
those
we
in
could-
favor of
All those in
reconsidering the
favor
vote?
of reconsideration? Okay. Say one. I am nay now. Okay. Okay. So with a vote of 7 to 1, it's been defeated, right? That's, yeah,
Okay, so
Further
now
time.
we,
okay.
Now we
somebody
vote
can
on
make a
further
mo,
time?
somebody can make a motion for something else? Right?
Right, so.
So I'll make a motion for further time.
I'll second that.
All in favor of further time? Okay. So C-68 has been given further time. I'm a nay, yeah. Okay, we move on to C-69. It referred to, the Chairman of Finance have report.
Yes, C-69, Dean J. Mazzarella, Mayor, relative to the appropriation of $12,000 to the municipal building maintenance expense account, same amount to be transferred from the stabilization fund. This is a request from the mayor regarding a supplement, I guess, to the Complete Streets program. I'm writing to request the appropriation of $12,000 for the purpose of landscaping at the Veterans and Senior Center. This has been a long-time request from both departments, and given the recent improvements to West Street, we are ready to proceed with completing the project. In 2017, the city was awarded $400,000 through the state's Complete Streets program. A portion of those funds paid for new sidewalks along West Street, improvements to the entrances of 100 West Street. As part of the 2018 paving program, the city paved the section of West Street in front of the two buildings. Although the Complete Streets program would not pay for the actual landscaping of West Street, the program did pay for the analysis and design of the area. I've enclosed the design prepared by Andrew Leonard. I've also attached estimates for irrigations and planting. Most important, that the trees on West Street will be replaced by adult trees. Thank you for consideration of this request. There's a letter attached to it that is from Richard Votor, the Director of the Leominster Veterans Services Center. Also from the Executive Director of the Senior Center. And then from Mr. Leonard is the schematic design and breakdown of all the landscaping expenses and a photograph. It would be my position to grant C-69. I would say, my suggestion would be that we sort of delivered a message with C-68. This seems to be a little bit time-sensitive with respect to the spring planting season, coming of Memorial Day and activities associated with that. Madam President, I would ask you to check with members of my committee.
I yield the floor to the Clerk of Finance Committee, Pauline Cormier.
I would agree with the chairperson, and I would like to add my 2 cents is this is for the veterans and the senior center, and I don't feel that we should be in a position to hold them hostage, especially in light of events that are up and coming. So I am voting in favor.
Okay, thank you. And third member, Councilor David Cormier.
I also agree. I support it.
Mr. Chair, will you qualify?
Yes, Madam President, the unanimous recommendation of Finance is to grant C-69.
You have heard the recommendation of the Finance Committee to grant C-69. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of granting C-69, please indicate in the usual manner. Okay, by a vote of 8-0, C-69 has been granted. Does the chairman have an order?
I do, Madam President. Order that the sum of $12,000 be appropriated to the municipal building expense account, same to be transferred from the stabilization fund. Move for the adoption of the order.
You've heard the request of the Finance Committee for the adoption of the order. Are there any final comments, questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying yay.
Yay.
Any opposed? So, by a vote of 8-0, Communication 68 has been adopted. 69. It's going by too fast.
Thank you, Frank.
Moving on to page 5, we have Legal Affairs, Communication 59.
Thank you. Communication 59, Dean J. Mazzarella. Mayor, requests the City Council vote to authorize the attached Electric Avenue easement. My recommendation on this is to grant Communication 59. I'd ask you to poll my committee.
Okay, I yield the floor to the Clerk of Legal Affairs, Councilor Frida,
I agree.
and the third member, Councilor Bedanza.
I agree as well.
Will you please qualify?
Unanimous recommendation of Legal Affairs is to grant Communication 59.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation of the Legal Affairs Committee to grant C-59. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of granting C-59, please indicate in the usual manner. By a vote, is there any opposed? By a vote of 8-0, C-59 has been granted. Moving on to Public Service Committee. Chair of Public Service, Councilor Frida.
Public Service, 38-19, National Grid and Verizon, to relocate one jointly owned pole on Wheeler Street, beginning at a point approximately 75 feet northeast of the center line of the intersection of Lancaster Street and continuing approximately 20 feet in a northwest direction. National Grid to relocate pole number 1, 35 feet closer to Lancaster Street to allow for a customer to install a new driveway. New pole to be 50 feet away from Lancaster Street. I'm going to go to my committee. I'm not sure. I know it's Councilor Cormier's ward, so I'd like to refer to her as well first.
Okay.
Through the chair, I had my doubts and I had my questions with this project. I looked at the map, I've walked the area. I would hesitate, except that Mr. Collins did come in. He was very open with his intentions. This has been through the planning board. The planning board had a public hearing. None of the neighbors showed up. No one has contacted me from the area, and I've walked the area a couple of times. We did have a public hearing tonight. None of the neighbors came in to complain about it or to state whether or not they had any issues. National Grid has been very good to us in the past year since I've been on the council, as far as coming in, letting us know their intentions ahead of time, taking down the old poles. So although I still do have some questions, I think that the neighbors and the neighborhood in general has had their opportunity to be heard on it. We're not hearing anything, so I would, at this point, support the petition to move the pole.
Okay. And Councilor Arndinger?
I agree with Councilor Cormier that we've heard some good information, and Mr. Collins has done a great job of landscaping the neighbor's property and stuff, and improvements to the building, so I think we should grant the petition.
Councilor Frida?
And I still have my doubts, but I'm going to support it. I think we might get into a situation of regretting this down the road, because that's going to be a pretty big driveway if that house is removed, which is what I understood was going to happen. But we can't anticipate that's what's going to happen, so I'll support it.
Okay, so can you qualify?
I can. A unanimous recommendation from the Public Service Committee to grant 38-19.
Thank you. So you've heard the recommendation of the Public Service Committee to grant 3819. All those in favor of granting
Excuse me.
30?
Question.
Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
Comment. As usual, I need to abstain from 38-18 because this equipment is partially owned by my employer, so I have a conflict of interest.
So noted.
Thank you.
Councilor Bedanza?
Out of an abundance of caution, I represented Mr. Collins when he bought this property. I'm going to abstain as well.
Okay, so noted. So Councilor David Cormier and Councilor Bedanza will be abstaining from this vote, so I'll start again. Any other discussion? Okay, you have heard the recommendation of the Public Service Committee to grant 3819. All those in favor of granting 3819, please indicate in the usual manner. By a vote of 6-0, communication 3819 has been granted. Now we move on to Ways and Means. And I refer to the Clerk of Ways and Means. There's no issue, we can do all of these in block.
If I may.
Yes, Madam President.
If I may, I don't have any issue with doing them in block. I just want the record to reflect that on the one for the Disability Commission that I am going to be one of the members. I will be abstaining from that particular one.
Okay, so
Thank you.
noted. Thank you. Councilor Frida.
Right. A measure confirming the mayor's appointment of Scott Simpson to the Board of Appeals, term to expire 4/15/2022. A measure confirming the mayor's appointment of Michelle Hagstrom to the Board of Appeals, alternate member, term to expire 4/15/2022. A measure confirming the mayor's appointment of John Diggins to the Council on Aging, term to expire 4/15/2022. A measure confirming the mayor's appointment of Donna Smith to the Council on Aging, term to expire 4/15/2022. A measure confirming the mayor's appointment of Phyllis Gagne to the Council on Aging, term to expire 4/15/2022. A measure confirming the mayor's appointment of Maria Muldari to the Council on Aging, term to expire 4/15/2022. A measure confirming the mayor's appointment of David Cormier to the Disability Commission, term to expire 4/15/2022. A measure confirming the mayor's appointment of Paul Kennedy to the Forest Warden, term to expire 4/15/2022. A measure confirming the mayor's appointment of James Despo to the Library Board of Trustees, term to expire 4/15/2022. A measure confirming the mayor's appointment of Maureen Donatelli to the Recreation Commission, term to expire 4/15/2022. A measure confirming the mayor's appointment of Ann Mahan to the Registrars of Voters, term to expire 4/15/2022. And a measure confirming the mayor's appointment of Bruce Lambert to the Veterans Care of Graves, term to expire 4/15/2022. Go to my committee, but I would think that this should be fine.
Okay. I will yield the floor to the third member, Counselor Dabrowski.
I agree.
Okay, so
Okay.
you please
The
qualify.
unanimous recommendation of the Ways and Means Committee and Veterans Affairs Committee is to confirm the mayor's appointments in block.
Thank you. So you've heard the recommendation of the Ways and Means Committee to grant the measures of confirmation in block. Any discussion? All those in favor of granting the measures of confirmation in block, please indicate in the usual manner. Any opposed? Okay. And I will be yay. So by a vote of 8-0, the Ways and Means and Veterans Affairs Committee measures of confirmation have been confirmed. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, and then we have secondhand dealers licenses, 5319, and we could do these in block as well?
Yep.
5619? I refer
Sure.
these to the chairwoman, to the clerk of Ways and Means.
53-19, Music Mania Incorporated, renew the secondhand dealer's license for Gordon LaSalle Music located at 875 Miriam Avenue, Suite 135. 54-19, Adele Martin Farrell, can renew the secondhand dealer's license for cold storage antiques and collectibles located at 609 Main Street. 55-19, Everything Cutie Incorporated, renew the secondhand dealer's license for Cutie Patooties located at 1021 Central Street. 56-19, Everything Cutie Incorporated, renew the secondhand dealer's license for Cuties located at 37 Mechanic Street. I'm going to go to the committee. Counselor to my right.
Dabrowski?
I agree.
Would you
Okay,
please
the
qualify?
recommendation is to confirm, to renew the licenses in block.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. You've heard the recommendation of the Ways and Means Committee to grant or renew the second-hand dealers licenses in block 5319, including 5619. Any discussion? All those in favor of granting 5319 through and including 5619, please indicate in the usual manner. And I will be recorded as yes, and so by a vote of 8-0, 5319 through and including 5619 have been granted. Thank you. So on to new business. City Council President Marchand could not be here this evening, so we will put off the launching of the new special committee initiative. I don't know what it is. And under old business, regarding the new athletic field for the schools and its delay. Does anybody else have anything under new business? Councilor Shalfo-Zephyr.
Yep, thank you very much. This is a question for the clerk. I had a question from a constituent about the mayor's new program. If you find a pothole and you call it into the mayor's office, you get a cup of coffee. I had a question from somebody who lives on an unaccepted street. So if you find a pothole on an unaccepted street, does the offer of a cup of coffee still stand? It's 2 coffees? Well, I just want to confirm that. Actually, it was a serious question. The woman wants an answer. So if you would, please.
I don't know the answer, but I will get the answer for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's probably iced coffee.
I would think that since they fixed them, the city addresses them, so I would think that.
That was my initial observation, but I didn't want to say anything until I confirmed it. That's why I want to confirm it, because the person was serious.
All right,
Yeah.
good, fair enough.
She was. Thank you. You're welcome, thank you. Anything else under new business? All right, so moving on to old business, regarding new athletic field for the schools and its delay. Madam Clerk, you had some information about that?
So we were supposed to have a discussion on public information session tonight, but it had to be postponed. We will be rescheduling that to a further date that we do not currently have at this time, but it will be posted, and I will inform the schools, the mayor's office, and also the engineers on the project when that meeting will occur, as well as the counselors.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else on that? All set? Again, under old business, we have 1775 Lock Drive ownership status and permit status. Councilor Bedanza has asked to address that.
Thank you, Madam President. Some of you may have seen in the local press, there was some information in the newspaper about the status of 1775 Lock Drive. You may recall that back in the fall, they were before us, and there was an indication of a change of ownership of the entity, and I believe the council at large indicated or asked about what the result of that might be. I don't want to rehash.
Madam President, point of order. Why would we be discussing this under old business? This isn't even something that we have in the council right now that I'm aware of.
There was a petition that's been on the council agenda.
Isn't it withdrawn?
We've discussed this in the past, however,
Yeah.
right?
It's been withdrawn, I thought.
They're going to be back in front of us, and it's a matter
Well, when they
that's been
do, that's when we would discuss it.
It's a matter that's been before us. It's a matter that at least one member of the council asked for legal opinion on that wasn't shared with the council in total. Okay,
I
so
kinda
that's
disagree
why
with
it's on
us
old
discussing
business.
this under old business.
And I think it's important for the public to know the information behind it.
Then it should have been put on the agenda.
It is
not
on the
under old
agenda.
business.
It is on the agenda, under old
Not under
business.
old business.
I think I'm reading it.
Shouldn't be there under, we shouldn't be looking for who owns the building. They should come and tell us.
There was a request for an opinion to our legal counsel relative to the petition that was before us. There was an opinion issued. There was a request from the media relative to this. There was a story about this. And the information relative to what the city solicitor developed for his initial opinion, at least, was not shared with the council in total. I think it should be. So I pray council president's judgment, but I think it should be.
It's on the agenda, so I don't have an issue with you discussing it. It's been before us many times, but I just would ask you to be very succinct and brief about it.
I will
Councilor
be.
Bedanza, thank you.
Thank you. So, as I indicated, I don't want to rehash Rule 34, but, and I'm not suggesting, I'm not looking to blame or cast any aspersions, but there was an opinion issued by the city solicitor that I wasn't privy to, and I believe most of the council wasn't privy to. And that opinion was that the current owner stands in the shoes of the old owner, nothing had to happen. When I first learned about this, which was last week, I contacted the city solicitor and I pointed him to a specific provision in our ordinance that governs marijuana, and he changed his opinion and now has suggested that they do have to come before us. And that was, as I indicated, reported in the local media. I just wanted to make it clear that I'm not suggesting that there was any, intent to deprive the rest of the council from the information, but we didn't get it. Had I gotten it, I would have jumped on this a lot earlier and would have had the city solicitor examine it sooner than before this point in time. It's now been made clear. It involved the building inspector, it involved a number of city officials, that they need to come before us because of the change of ownership. If they seek to convert this license to adult use marijuana, they need to come before us. And if they decide to build a cultivation center, they need to come before us. They also have to amend their host agreement, which was particularly troubling to me because had I known that earlier, I would have certainly gotten in touch with the appropriate people, because our host agreement is with the prior organization, not with the organization that is now operating there. So that's all I wanted to say. I just would hope in the future that that I'm sure that the city clerk would make sure that any opinions that Mr. Riley or anybody else from KP Law issues will be distributed generally to the council. Like I said, I just think it was a glitch. It was my reason for trying to keep Rule 34 on the books. I just would want to make sure that that doesn't happen again.
I
don't want to get into a discussion, but
No.
seeing that we're already in a discussion, I'd like to respond.
Yeah. Please be brief, Councilor Frida.
And I totally agree with you, because I sat here when the city solicitor sat here and knew that they needed to come before us again, but the opinion stated that night was different. I still don't think we should be pursuing it, and I understand what you're saying as an attorney, and what you're saying as a counselor, and that you would have pursued things, you would be looking at things. I'm kind of curious as to why we're not doing it as a legal affairs committee, instead of one individual doing this. I'm not getting a lot of the information as well. I think we need to be looking at this as a committee, not as an individual. I mean, that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. All right, thank you. Councilor Danza, you're all set?
I just would say that as soon as I was able to convince Mr. Riley that his opinion that he issued in October, that I knew nothing about, was, in my opinion, incorrect, he issued a new opinion, which the city clerk generally generated to all of the council, and all of the council got that.
All right, we're all set with that? Move on. Okay, so we'll move on to, is there anything else under old business? Councilor Shalfo Zephyr.
Yes, thank you very much. Through the chair to the finance chair, more work for you, or questions anyways. C84 through C88 were all requests for appropriations to fulfill the collective bargaining agreements. And C84, for example, is $119,000 with a variety, a laundry list of different departments. But what I would really like to know is, which positions and what was the amount? I think it's fair to ask those questions. We have $23,000 in the health department. No, actually, that's the library. But anyways, the list of items adds up to $119,000. I just would like detail on that. And that goes for every one of those. It's C84, 85, 86, 87. C88 is a request for $100,000 from the fire department for overtime with no backup. And normally, the fire department's very good about providing backup. So I'd like that backup, please, if you could just ask for that, because we didn't get anything.
That's fine, I'll investigate.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Frida, did you see your hand?
Yep, just an update on the police station. We had a meeting last Thursday morning, and it was a good meeting. We have, the bids went out, a few, I'm not sure when they went out, but I know they came back with Greg Chapdelaine bringing them. We have 10 bids. We are all individually going through the 10 bids now to narrow them down. We have a meeting this Thursday, hopefully to have a discussion, and soon, hopefully, we have an owner's project manager that we can start moving forward with an architect and get into the rest of the business. So it's good news.
Yeah, good report. It's great that that's moving along.
Just
Councilor
to
Danza.
follow up on that, the bidding is for what in particular, the demo, or for the project manager, or?
Project manager.
Okay.
Councilor Shalfo Zephyr.
Question through the chair to Councilor Frida. Where were those notices posted? And can we get copies of those notices? I'd like to know when the meetings are, because I might sit in on, a couple just to kind of keep up to date, up to speed on things. So are they posted through the clerk's office, do you know, Councilor Frida?
I don't, through the chair, I don't know if it's the clerk's office or if it's Wendy
Okay,
through the mayor's office, but I know they've been posted.
okay,
The clerk will clarify.
thank you. And if you would just maybe let all of us know when they are, give us a note, give us a copy of the notice in our mailboxes, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Good, all set?
They're pretty much at 7:30 in the morning.
What day of the week usually? What day of the week usually?
We've been on, this is only our second meeting.
Oh, okay.
Our third will be this Thursday at 7:30 in room 10. That will be to look at the bids. So they've been, the first one was on Friday, the last one was on Thursday, so I don't think we have a set date. It's still pretty early in the process. I think we'll have more defined meeting time once we start moving.
So the clerk is going to send an email out to everybody to remind you,
Thank
set your alarms to get up early, go to that meeting. Anything else under old business? Okay, moving on. Anything under community calendar?
I just want to, if I may.
Yes, Councilor Cormier.
Just remind everybody that it actually happens before the next time we meet, all the Memorial Day exercises from the twilight ceremony on Friday, the 24th, and they flag the cemeteries on the 25th. And then, of course, we have a a parade and visit all the cemeteries on the 27th.
Yeah.
So the public should be
Aware of that.
aware of that, and hopefully we'll have good attendance this year.
Hopefully it'll be a nice day. The sun will be out for the
Right.
second time
And
in the
warm,
spring.
too.
Yeah, second time. Anything else on the community calendar? Our poor Little Leagues have been saturated, so I don't know how that's working out, but I'm glad I'm not the president of a Little League anymore, because nothing worse. So I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Okay, all set?
Second.
Thank you very much. Thank you for putting up with a little bit of my greenness.
No,
Thank
did
you.
fine.